So it's pretty. They're owned by a big company that distributes for Dr. Pepper and all that.
Okay.
So.
What's up? What we good, Hunter? Good in the hood. All right, outstanding. Welcome back to the 307 podcast, everyone. We have such a grand treat for y'all today. We got our good friend Evan Slaughter, fit to serve. It's still fit to serve, right?
Still fit to serve.
On the show. Served. Joining us on the show. If y'all been wondering where the Chill Man's at, Chill Man.
I just got a report from Chile.
Is it? Can we make it public?
Yeah, we can make it public.
Okay.
He's in northern Canada, working on a news story up there. And
so that's where he's been. He's been telling us he's sick, but he's actually been up in Canada.
He was going to Zoom call in to Hunter and give his national news, but their internet sucks in Canada.
I think he's a little too poor looking to zoom in.
Doesn't everything suck in Canada?
So,
and all right, thanks for that update on Chile. I still hadn't went back to listen to the episode that he hosted last week, but from talking to Creme Pepe over there, it was pretty rough. How did he do last week as the host? Because, hey, look, if Chile listens to this, Creme Pepe been dropping some mad crap talk on you, buddy.
He has.
I'm talking about, he said you were struggling to host this show. People don't understand the amount of just prestige it takes to host a podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all know? Tell me how good I am.
It's a heavy weight. It's a heavy burden to bear.
Really good.
I mean, it's
not easy.
heavy
It's
weight
not
to
easy.
bear, son.
Hey, you're good at what you're good at, and you ain't at what you ain't.
He ain't good at dealing with the power when it's out.
No. Getting no receipts turned
Especially
in.
when your buddy comes over and takes a massive doo-doo in your toilet and then realizes you're on well water and that he can't flush the toilet. And then he comes out and tells you, hey, man, I just took a massive crap in your toilet and I can't flush it.
It's a wonder he didn't go try to mash it down the toilet with his hand.
Cornbread, yeah. That's what Cornbread did to me this morning. He had to take my private reserve spring water and pour it in the back of the toilet so
that
he could
stuff flushes smooth.
flush his
son.
doo-doo.
That spring water flushes smooth.
And that's not the end of that story. So my wife texts me just a little bit ago while we're all at lunch and says, who the flip left this mess in the hallway bathroom toilet? You people have got to start having more respect. So take a look at that. That's what Cornbread, that's the aftermath of Cornbread's doo-doo.
You know how you know I'm a bachelor? I saw that and I thought, that's not that bad.
Well, look, it's a toilet.
I mean, it looks kind of clean to me.
Brooke is like the poo Nazi, man.
The crap, but look, man, there is literally a toilet brush right here beside that
Who
toilet.
brushes the toilet after they crap?
I mean, when you leave, I mean,
you agreeing?
that's pretty rough. Now, hold on, let me zoom in on that.
Yeah, that's okay. There's some chunks there.
There's
It's not
eggs.
splatter. There's chunks.
That was probably
That's like
there
a whole.
before.
Yeah.
This is like a whole
got chunky.
turd left.
Well, I had to flush it before I used it because it wasn't even flushed. It was half full of urine and toilet paper.
That ain't bad, bub.
No.
You're zooming in to get some kind of
That's bad.
heightened effect.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
ain't great.
It's kind of making me sick. I got to stop looking at it. It's kind of making me sick.
That ain't that bad.
Next time I'm gonna crap in the driveway. You
Well.
run over it.
So that's how my morning's been. Power's been out, but anyways, that's just that spring weather. Yeah, March
So
is-
what does the power have to do with the well water? I'm not familiar with.
So the well, there's an electric pump in the well
pumps,
house that
okay.
pulls the water up out of the well. So
Gotcha.
that's
So that
one
meant
of-
someone had already flushed the toilet, or you had flushed it.
I had to
So
flush
you
it.
ruined the water in the tank. You didn't. You had to
I
get
had
extra
to
water
flush
in the
it
tank.
because somebody had filled it up with urine.
Okay, that.
Okay.
And there was a couple
But
of
did
pieces
you
of
have to flush it? You what? You can't pee. You can't crap
Yeah, I would have
and
gone
pee.
right on top
I'm not
of
going to
that.
crap on that pee and then that pee bounce up and hit
you
my
on the
butt. That is nasty, dude.
Nobody wants pee on their butthole.
Are you serious?
That's why you take
So you
toilet
did
paper.
that.
No, look, buddy. Let me tell you. you don't flush a pee bowl because that's wasting water. Okay, we're all
Yellow,
about
let it mellow. Brown, flush it
We're
down.
all about the environment around here. I'm not gonna flush a pee.
Yeah.
Because you just wasting
Yeah.
water. Bad for the environment. You pee in that toilet over and over. You pee in the toilet continuously. You don't flush it until somebody doos in it. Look, what you do when you come to a pee toilet and you got to do, you take your strip of toilet paper about this long, about however long you think your turd's going to be. All right? You take it, fold it over, double layer it, put it in the toilet bowl. That's going to create you a nice landing pad. And you lay your turd right down on that landing pad so you don't have any splashback.
So that's why the toilet paper was already in the toilet. You peed in it and said somebody's going to have to boo.
He prepped it
Probably
with a
did.
landing pad. He left a landing pad for someone.
Sounds like a terrible clog would be happening after all that.
He prepped it with the landing pad.
So I had you set up, man, and you ruined it all.
My
And,
bad, bud.
That would
and now you know who's going to have to clean this, right?
I'm sure Brooke already cleaned it up.
No, sir. I will be required to clean up that.
If you
when
go
I
home
get home.
and just flush that toilet one more
Yeah.
time, it's over. with.
And then
Going
pee
down.
on it. If
Maybe.
it don't pee on it, next
Yeah.
time
Pee it
you
off.
pee-
Knock it off. Yeah, knock it off with your pee.
That's what you do with skid marks. You pee them off.
Great, man. You can't even be a human at your house.
I know. Good night. Y'all act like that place is just the throne.
And then you look inside Brooke's truck, and then you see she shouldn't be complaining about it.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, Evan was checking out Brooke's truck today in the garage, and I was like, this is such a nice truck. And I opened the door, and it looks like a darn garbage can inside the truck.
Looked like the back of your Land Cruiser from all her gun stuff she'd been throwing back
it looks
there
worse
for
than
weeks.
that. Oh, it looks rough. Creamy Pepe, you've got all your clips from the week, from the podcast, just right there in the first 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
All your clips.
Yeah, we could wrap it up.
There you go.
actually.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by our partner at Drink Hoist. That's it, boy.
This black cherry's fire.
Hoist will keep you moist.
Ooh.
And one of the best things about Hoist is it goes great with coffee. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I have actually seen people utilize this tip. They post it on their story and stuff. If you take a sip of coffee, let that coffee get in your palate. You don't take the Hoist right after. You swallow the coffee down, let it kind of permeate your palate. And then you take a sip of Hoist, and that goes down. The flavor is perfect together. Whatever flavor of Hoist. It goes great with coffee. Coffee's dehydrating you. Hoist is hydrating you. It's IV level hydration. It's more than just a beverage. It's battlefield proven. The first time I ever saw Hoist was in a NEX on a Navy base. It's IV level. Your body absorbs it extremely fast. It's got stuff in it that you need to keep you from cramping, keep you from getting dehydrated. Calcium, potassium, magnesium. Got 70 calories per bottle. No preservatives. Made right here in the USA. DrinkHoist.com. You guys know we've been using Hoist for a long time. And if you enjoy the show, one of the ways that you can support us is by supporting companies that have the courage to support this show, because they never know what we're going to say. And Hoist doesn't care. We don't take partners that are going to try to limit what we talk about or our viewpoints, right? And Hoist has come alongside us. They've been with us for a long time. And it's a great product, great people. DrinkHoist.com. Thank you for making this show possible. Evan, last time you were on, I just checked it, and this is interesting. I don't know if we ever realized this or not, but your episode was episode 278.
Okay.
That's my BUDS class.
Oh, really?
That's my SEAL training class.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's pretty unique.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
That was April 12th, 2023.
I was wondering how long.
Yep. And so if you guys have not listened to that, it's on YouTube too, but I don't know how, you could probably I think you can just search Evan Slaughter 307 podcast, and if you want to watch it on YouTube, it'll pop up there, but it's on audio, episode 278, and Evan shares his whole story. He is a combat veteran. He was wounded in service. He spent a lot of time in the Army. He's got a whole another story that he is in the process of going through now since he left the Army. He's a man who has chosen to do hard things and has chosen not to quit. And you were telling us earlier today you had many ups and downs.
Yeah.
But the key is you haven't given up, man,
Yeah.
and you've stayed in the fight, and it's a blessing to have you here today. I wish we got to spend more time with you more often. You're living in daggone Nashville.
I
man.
know, not
Who
too
the crap
far.
lives in Nashville, man?
Well, it's not terrible.
I saw you walking down the street here in Rome when you guys left the restaurant there earlier, and I thought, oh, Evan, he sure does fit in on a Rome sidewalk.
Yeah, I
just
was
think
thinking
now-
I could live in Rome. Rome's great.
I think
Rolls
Nashville's
Royce in
just
the city.
well, yeah, that was odd. Nashville's that's just too big, man.
It is big. I haven't lived in a lot of big cities. I mean, Birmingham's the biggest city I've lived in, so that's not huge. And really, I was in the suburbs there at Hoover, and then born in Montgomery, and my family's all from, really, when I was born in Hope Hole, it was farmland that I was born on, so I'm really not used to living in a city that size. But it is, it's changed a lot from when I went to school there. It continues to grow. Real estate's booming there, and it's been all right, though. It's been good. Downtown's nice. Where I live's great.
Okay,
I enjoy
You've gotten
it.
adjusted to the traffic and the noise and.
Well, I don't have to really go anywhere from where I'm at, because if you're familiar with Nashville, I'm in the Gulch area, so I could literally walk to Broadway Street. But I'm far enough away from Broadway Street that I don't have to deal with the chaos all the time, because Broadway Street gets crazy.
Okay.
I mean, it's wild, and I didn't want to be too close to that, but close enough to where if it's, the weekend, you want to go do something fun, you're right there, all the concerts and stuff. But where I'm at's nice. It's cool. I don't have to leave there, really. Mm-hmm. So it's been good.
Well, that's good, man. Now, we have got two men at this table who have been on one heck of a fitness journey. Mr. Cornbread, how much weight have you lost since you've been working at 307 Project?
66 pounds.
66 pounds.
That's good.
And we have got Brother Evan here, who he just told us at lunch, he's lost 98 pounds.
95. Right at 95.
95 pounds, man. In 11 months.
Yeah. 11 months.
What has that been like? That's like losing that's like losing Creamy Pepe.
Yeah.
You've been carrying him around on your back for the last couple of years.
It's crazy.
How have you, the last time, if you guys go back and watch episode 278 with Evan,
Thick.
you will see he's kicked back out on that couch, son.
Dude, I thought I wasn't going to be able to get off the couch at one point.
I'm talking about he is looking plump.
Yeah. 9 months pregnant. I think that's what I was going to say too, is I think when I did your podcast episode, it was probably when I was the heaviest, because there was a period, it took me a while to get to that weight, because I didn't, I'd been in shape most of my life. And whenever I got out of rehab, getting off opiates and all that stuff, I found comfort in food. So it was like and then I quit the exercise, quit going down, and I started taking off on social media. So I was really not prioritizing exercise and health. And I was really, learning, like I learned that, and Cornbread, you may feel this way, but man, I can get addicted to food, dude. Like, get excited about eating something bad, pizza, whatever, and just have this mindset that it's like, that is kind of like a drug in a sense, And for some people, it really is a bad one. For me, it was just one that I just let get out of hand, and I didn't have opiates or whatever I'd been doing before that to fall back on, and then it kind of snuck up on me. But, man, food can become a real thing.
Yeah, when you fast, you realize how much you think about food. You fast even a meal or for a day, and all you're thinking about is, good night, I'd like to have a hamburger or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, when did I remember back when you came out and we did that show together and stuff. I think losing weight was on your mind at that point, but you hadn't really started that until it was. I remember when I first kind of started seeing you on Instagram and stuff, like
Making
getting
some
serious
progress.
about
Yeah.
working out, you know, like,
yeah.
okay, he's not just doing this stuff because Evan's a comedian too. It's, you know, his gift is making people laugh. But I remember seeing some stuff that you were doing and like, okay, he's not just doing this for comedy. He's making it funny, but that's a legit workout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what sparked that, man? Were you just tired of it or like?
Yeah, I think tired of it. And one of the biggest things I talk about now, especially, is that for me, losing the weight, I wanted to do that not because I cared so much about how people perceived me. And that was it in the past. Is, you know, in the past, whenever I would exercise or want to be in shape or whatever, I was doing that solely because I cared so much about how I looked to you, right? So I take my shirt off. Do I look, you know, appealing to females? Do I, you know, do I look? So I just wanted to, and that was never a good enough reason for me to do fitness, to enjoy fitness.
Yep.
And what I learned for me at least, what I learned from this is that I got to a place when I was the heaviest, like on y'all's episode on that show, and even, you know, the CrossFit Games weren't too long after that. So it was around that. It was around that. I was probably the heaviest between then and the CrossFit Games, which was August. So at that time was when I was the heaviest that I've ever been. But I always like follow that up with, but honestly, in terms of mental health, I was probably the most mentally healthy I've ever been. Which kind of sounds contradictory a little bit, but it's not, because for me, it was like I used to care so much about what people thought of me or how people perceived me or what I thought you thought of me, or I would manipulate things so that you would think this way about me, you know, because I wanted to be liked. Everybody wants to be liked, right? Most of us. And so I would, you know, that was affecting my life in a way where that's where a lot, I think, with the drug issues I had and all that stuff was just insecurity and fear and wanting to be liked. Well, whenever I gained that weight, you know, I learned how to not care what other people thought about me in a healthy way, you know. I didn't let that control me anymore. So for me, and that's why you see in my videos, like, I was thinking about it literally, probably on the way down here, because I was thinking about what we could talk about and everything and what we would talk about, and I was thinking about how sometimes I look back and go, man, how was I taking my shirt off and putting those videos out there like that? But then it's like, you know what? I don't want to feel that way or think that way because I don't care. And so many people would message me that just from me doing that was helping them, you know? And that's whenever I started to figure out the fitness side of this, where so many people, when I do, you know, be exercising but making it funny, I was getting messages from people that were like, I know this is humorous and you're being funny and everything, but this is really helping me. I would get up and follow along and do the workout with you just from a quick little Instagram video. And it made me remember that there's people out there like me in those situations where it's like, I don't know if you've ever had to lose 100 pounds, but it's tough, dude. It's tough. It's one of the hardest things I've done, and the hardest things, and I've done a lot of crazy stuff, but it's hard because the way you feel when you're that heavy, you know, when you're that overweight, there's no energy, there's no drive, and it just keeps going like this. And it's hard to break that pattern and go this way. And I think that's why most people get stuck. And you think about, like, you see those shows or whatever with people that are 1,000 pounds or My 1,000-Pound Life or whatever, and you wonder, how can it ever get like that, right? And I think it's just because when you get here and you get to the bottom, it's so hard to get out of that. Yep. And for me, I was fortunate to, one, want to care about doing things differently. You know, I wanted to change, and I wanted to change my physical health. You had asked about what made me want to spark that change. Well, it's because I improved my mental health, and then as I started experiencing life in a much better way, I then wanted to improve my physical health so that I could continue experiencing life better. The best example I have of that is I was invited out to San Diego to work on something with a company called RX Smart Gear that's been a long part of my fitness journey since the beginning. They do jump ropes, a lot of jump rope stuff, and they were supporting me with jump ropes and everything, which was huge for me because I could just take that jump rope out, and even if I did 2 minutes in one day and that's all I did that day, that was better than me not doing anything, which is what I had been doing. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helped jumpstart a lot of that for me. But they had me out in San Diego, and the owner of the company took me out to go surf, and I'd always wanted to surf, or at least attempt to surf. And, man, I was as big as I was maybe I started losing a little weight. No, I was as big as I was when I was on the pod last time with you guys. And I don't know if you've imagined that trying to get up on a surfboard, but it ain't easy.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's for me was like a thing. It's like, okay, now my weight is affecting my ability to do things that I want to do in life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's taking joy from me.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to improve my health now, you know, and that's what sparked me to want to improve my health so that I can experience life better.
Man, I did not expect for you to basically talk about that there was a positive aspect of gaining that weight for you personally.
Yeah.
That's something that I've never thought about, man.
Yeah.
And it's interesting now that you are now like you're getting fit, man. Like you got a High Rocks competition coming up. Your body's getting toned up. You're looking fit. That you have to be on. That you are on guard against slipping back into that old mindset of caring too much about what other people think about you and the way that you look. And like we just always have to be those things that are kind of the Achilles heel for us. They don't necessarily ever go away. You have to constantly be on guard against them, you know, because you'll slip right back into that mindset. But it just, I don't know, it was cool to me to hear that because it almost seems like that season of your life was part of the process that you needed to go through.
Yeah.
In order to have that mindset shift of being able to say, you know what? I don't give a crap what anybody thinks about me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just.
Why should I?
That's it, man. Like that. It's just, I've never heard it put that way. That was part of your process. That you needed to go through in becoming who God is going to ultimately, you know, the point He's going to bring you to.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, I'm glad that you worded it that way. Because it was a positive thing for me, and when I talk about it, I just share my story, right? And then whenever I share that, whatever people take from that, you know, is for them to take from that. And you're right, there was some positive. I've never worded it that way, but it was positive. It was positive for my mental health. It was also positive for me to experience what it's like to be that heavy. You know. I always joke about, like, you know, I do influencer stuff for a living on social media, but I've been called a fitness influencer before, and that just makes me laugh, you know. But I mean, I guess in a way I am, you know, and it's because it's when we think of fitness and stuff like that, especially on Instagram and all that. It's like if you search fitness stuff on Instagram right now, what are we gonna see? You know, like hot chicks, you know, ripped dudes that are probably juicing or what, you know. And
unrealistic.
I mean,
images,
and that's intimidating for people. It was intimidating for me, even though I had some experience with fitness. But imagine being 100 pounds overweight and never having gone to a gym, and then deciding that you want to do something about it, and you go on social media to start kind of learning and doing stuff like that. It's really discouraging. So that's when I learned it was a relief for a lot of people. For me putting my little experience with fitness out there because it was stuff that they could relate to. Because I talk about getting up off the couch and, you know, I don't know that any other fitness influencer or personal trainer or anyone in the health space that is just going to recommend, hey, if all you do today is get up off the couch and walk up and down your driveway 5 times and that's your exercise for the day, that's a win if you hadn't been doing that the day before. And for me, that was what it took, man. That's what it took to get my body moving again, was just a little bit at a time.
That's so good, man. That's how everything has got to work, you know.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to skip over that,
They
right?
want to be at the ripped abs on the beach and right at the finish line too soon.
And people are hungry for like genuineness too. Like
Yeah.
all of
Real.
these, all of these videos and things that are put out with so many different cuts and trying to put together the perfect scene to string together this video or scene where everything's done perfectly is just, it might be entertaining, but nobody really cares about watching. It's not encouraging to anybody.
Right.
It's just about the person saying, hey, look at me, I'm the best.
Right.
It's not about anybody else.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of videos. Evan is my running coach, and we did film a video today where he actually shares some of his inside tips about being a top level elite ultra athlete.
Yep.
I don't know. You've probably never shown those publicly, right?
I haven't, and I decided to put them out today, because I know that I helped you a lot with your endeavors as an endurance athlete, and without some of my tips, I don't think you'd be able to say you could have even made it as far as you have. Probably wouldn't have finished the Cocodona 250.
No, for sure. Wouldn't have. But people
I thought it wasn't fair to keep that stuff a secret.
Well, I just thought it was awful.
The truth about water. That's going to be the name of that episode.
Yeah.
It's bad for you.
That's going to be big.
I just couldn't believe you were feeling so generous today that you were going to release those tips, because that's going to change the game. And you guys will be able to see that on Evan's page. Is that going to come out on IG, Evan?
Yeah.
What's your IG?
Fit to Serve. Fit to Serve with the number 1 at the end on Instagram, because someone's got Fit to Serve. So
okay, Fit to Serve number 1. I'll attach it in the description of this episode. I want to ask both you guys. And we'll start with cornbread.
Yep.
And we'll kick it over to you, Evan. What has been one of the most challenging things about this journey for you in getting healthy again, in losing this weight, or something that's been hard for you about it that maybe has surfaced, multiple times, that have maybe tried to stop you or slow you down for you personally?
I was surprised once I got rolling good, like how many injuries would happen. And like my shoulder, of course, which was from something before, a stupid move that cracked my ribs when we was CrossFitting, but this nagging calf thing that just constantly does. But back to what Evan was saying earlier, like by using that first format, like for the first few months, like I honed in big time on those macros, which has sort of been a little bit dangerous for me, because I can sort of figure out in my head what I can eat and still have a bowl of ice cream at night, when I really don't have to. And at times I'll spend that for 2 or 3 nights in a row, or, I'm going to have some milk and graham crackers, you know what I mean? So like something good, positive, like I really figured out how to eat protein, get the right amount of carbs and the fat. But that thing with that food, that sweetness, like I could twist it a little bit in my head and say, man, I can have a bowl of ice cream tonight, so I ain't going to eat no bunch of breakfast this morning or something like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely the injuries, and then struggling with that has been the 2 biggest struggles.
How have you basically chosen not to give up in the midst of the injuries that you have?
Yeah.
Because you've decided in the midst of these injuries, which are legit injuries, like you've decided to continue to just pivot, change, reinvent your exercise, and do what you can do.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd say the majority of people would just say, my shoulder's jacked up, broke my ribs, screw this working out stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how have you decided to keep going?
Well, it was real easy from coming from never working out hardly at all and running heavy equipment. Like if you watched a video of somebody working out, whatever it may be, bench press or doing pull-ups or whatever, you'd never imagine in your head, without doing it, that you can modify something. You just think there's these basic line of whatever kind of workouts they are, and you can't modify it. But when I started doing that CrossFit, and I could see that there's so many modifications that you can do for everything, like it was easy just say, okay, well, I've had to modify this and this, so there's got to be a modification for it. And Google or YouTube, you can find it really quick. If you really want to do it, you can find some type of modification.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But those modifications also can be deadly in and of the sense. I remember me and Blake was working out at CrossFit one day, and he said, dude, and he was joking, but he was being serious. He said, I'm tired of watching you waller around on those ring rows for modifying for pull-ups. And we laughed, and he said, you can do jumping pull-ups. And I'd been doing ring rows for months, and they were getting easier. You know, my feet's almost to the wall when I'm doing them. They're almost right here, and I'm just still doing them. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm getting fit, man. These things are so easy now, and you just keep doing them. And then I started doing the jumping pull-ups, and now they're getting easier. So I'm thinking, all right, now what do I got to modify now? Like, you got to consistently keep modifying, or it just becomes.
Adapting that, making it progressively harder as your strength and
that's up. What I learned from you when we was bike riding. Like, okay, now I'm not having to stop none. And you said, well, you can drop gears, you can move gears. Like, it should constantly be getting harder the whole time. So being able to modify has helped me stay consistent.
That's good, man. And being okay with that, and that's good, man. Yeah, that's the goal. The goal in terms of being healthy and, working your body, the goal is not to ever get to the point where all of these things are easy. What you want to keep it challenging. It's like for me with running, although I've been running for, decades now, well, running never gets easier. I just run faster, So, but that takes discipline. It takes, personal integrity. Yeah. And it also takes people around you that, like Blake did that day in the gym, that are going to kind of call you up. Absolutely. People around you that are going to see, okay, there's more in, because you don't always see that in yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's so important. We talk about that on the podcast all the time. It's the people that you're around, your team, how important that is, and giving them permission to call you up when it's time for you to level up and you don't even see it.
Right.
So, how about you, Evan? What been some? I mean, it's been what's it been now? 11 months, you said, right?
Well, 11 months was when I hit the 95-pound weight mark, so I think it's been about 14 months from the time I started dropping. But yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of things that really stood out. Like with the food, for me, what I had to do. So whenever I started to really make a change, it was October 2023, is whenever I started to actually do something about losing weight, not just talking about it or playing around with it. And I got on Blokes, right? And I started getting my blood tested quarterly. And the first time I get it tested, I remember thinking, I really don't want to do this because I don't want to find out how bad it's going to be. I thought, they were going to test my blood and then call like, you need to get to the emergency room. You're dying, because I knew I was bad out of shape, But it's important to, they refer to it often as looking under the hood and really seeing what's going on with your blood work. So I do that, and my testosterone's on the floor. It's like 141. And see, I didn't know this at the time I was at the pod last time with you guys. So, I've got no energy. I've got very little drive. Anytime I would do any kind of be consistent at all with any kind of exercise, I just felt like I wasn't making any progress.
I'm sure,
wasn't seeing anything move. So, they say my testosterone was a 141. They say optimized is between 800 and 900. So I was basically turning into a woman.
So that's interesting because we just did the thing with Blokes too.
Okay, that's right.
And CB was sitting in the mid-7s.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm talking about mid-7s, like
without nothing.
Nothing.
That's pretty impressive.
And this joker's old as crap too, man. Look at his teeth.
But he's all man though.
Look at his teeth.
He's all man though.
Get this, man. He's got higher testosterone than me, man. It's the military, dude.
It's got to be something like that.
The military, dude.
So I've heard PTSD and stuff like that can affect your testosterone.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
I have, yeah. But brain injury, PTSD, and just the nature of the life.
CTE.
The sleep so jacked up for so many years.
Yeah, that's right.
You're eating crappy food.
That's right.
What is an MRE doing to your daggone body? I mean,
nothing good.
I mean, and how many hundreds of those have you eaten?
That's right. I ate them so much, I started to enjoy them. Yeah, I would look forward to them. That's how much. But yeah, you're right. So yeah, I mean, so 141. I mean, I'm got no energy. I've got no motivation for anything. And then I was type 2 diabetic at that point. I mean, flat out. which I didn't know. I didn't have any, my A1C it wasn't pre-type 2 diabetic. It was type 2 diabetic.
No kidding, man.
And so I had all these issues. Well, so that's when I got, I started treating the testosterone. But there's a lot of different things you can do for that. Clomiphene is a good one that gets your body to start producing its own testosterone again, which they have great results from. And they've seen guys with like a 1,300 test score just from clomiphene. And then, testosterone replacement therapy. But also for
Can you get me some of that clomiphene?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just bring me some of that down next time.
I might have some in the car. I'm always taking it. We know who doesn't need any, Mr. 700 over here.
No kidding, man.
And then I got on semaglutide. Some people pronounce it semaglutide. I pronounce it semaglutide because I heard it pronounced that way on a Wegovy commercial. So it's got to be right. But it's Ozempic, basically, which helped me in a big way. And this is what and me sharing using the Ozempic, too, has been big for me because I just tell people the truth about what I'm doing. I tell people the truth about how it is. And some people have given that a hard time. And usually it gets a bad name because you see, like, celebrities on it that have no business need to be on it. They don't have any weight that they need to lose. Or I'm not picking on celebrities in particular, but people that are using it for the wrong reasons.
They're
doing it so they don't gain weight, so they don't eat, which isn't the way to do it, It's helped people like myself that are type 2 diabetic that are almost, in really, really serious trouble with their physical fitness and their weight. But for me, it helped me to start learning how to eat right because I would have not as big of an appetite. So I kind of started learning to portion control and eat right. And because you eat too much on that stuff, you can get nauseous. So it helped me kind of start learning to eat, less. And when I'm full, I'm full. It really started helping with the type 2 diabetic part. But it also, it's not a miracle drug. If I wasn't busting my butt in the gym on top of that, I would have had not near the results that I've had or near the time that I've had. So by month 6, maybe, you're doing your testosterone or you're doing your blood work every quarter. I think by the second time, so month 8, maybe, second quarter from when I started. By month 8, I was not even in the type 2 pre-diabetic range with my A1C. So it had gone down fast. Man. My testosterone was...
What a blessing that is, too,
man.
It
was huge. It was huge. All my stuff, they do a really good job of giving you a report, and it shows you, optimal range. And I think I was in everything optimal, except my A1C could come down a little bit more from what it was at, And now it's great. And so for that for me allowed me to start being more consistent in the gym. It gave me that kind of, I could start seeing progress. The testosterone stuff helped a lot with that. I would start having energy again. I would start sleeping again. My body would start functioning right again. Where I would have results from working out now. I could start to see the scale move. I could start to feel like I was actually doing something. So that was huge. But before that, consistency in the gym was my biggest problem.
Yeah.
I couldn't remain consistent. I would go once or twice intermittently here, and then get frustrated because I'm not losing any weight. And it's like the truth of the matter is I need to be doing this I need to move my body in some way every single day, for me at least, or at least 6 days a week, maybe take Sunday off or something and rest. But I just wasn't doing enough and I wasn't remaining consistent and then getting frustrated whenever I wasn't having results. So the way I found to combat that was I started doing things that was exercise, but it didn't feel like exercise, like exactly what we talked about today. That was a decent, quick little workout, but it didn't feel like a workout, like going to the gym.
Yeah, man.
Pickleball was that for me,
Yeah. Are you still doing pickleball?
Oh yeah, love it. It's my biggest, outside of, the fitness stuff, pickleball has been huge for me. It's been great. It's really changed my life a lot. And I still play, in the wintertime, cold outside, we're not playing really indoors much, kind of slowed down some. But as it gets warmer, I'll play a few times a week, hopefully each week.
That's good, man. Yeah, that's we talked about that on the video we filmed today, like how the gym can begin to just feel like a grind, especially after a few years,
Yep.
you know, or for me, like when I was training for tactical games and trying to put on muscle and strength, man, after about 6 or 8 months of that, I
Yeah.
was getting really tired of it.
Yeah.
It can just feel like a grind, and that's running can turn into that. Anything can turn into that. So
Yeah.
it is good to be conscious of that and to kind of reinvent ways to stay engaged in terms of being healthy.
Yeah.
By mixing fitness and shooting, or
Yeah.
pickleball, or basketball, or something like something fun. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Doing something physically active that, going on a hike, being outside, like, and not looking at it as exercise. It's like something, it's exactly what you're saying. It's something happens in our brain. We're like, all right, I got to go to the gym. And, you just got home from work or whatever, or maybe you go in the morning and you just woke up and the motivation's not there. There's that immediate, like, I really don't feel like doing this. You got to get in the car, go down here, go to the gym, do this. And then when you're done with it, you feel great, and you're glad you did it. But when you're doing something that doesn't feel like exercise, you don't even have that train of thought, Like if we're going to go play pickleball right now, I don't think any of us are looking at that like we're going to do that as exercise. We're going to get exercise out of it, but we're also going to socialize and have fun and laugh and compete, And for me, that was huge. That was huge.
Consistency, you talked about that was that's been the biggest challenge, consistency in the gym.
Yeah.
It's funny, man, because I just interviewed a guy yesterday, and I asked him, like, he's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I was like, what's been the hardest part in this journey of building this YouTube channel with now right at 1 million subscribers? And he was like, consistency, like consistently posting, multiple videos a week, and you get to Thursday and you know that a video is supposed to come out on Friday and you haven't done it.
Yeah.
But it's funny how it's so common to hear people who have been successful talk about how that consistency was and sometimes still is the most difficult part, but it is arguably the most essential aspect of success in any given lane.
Yeah.
Physically, professionally, in entrepreneurship, spiritually.
Yeah.
Consistency in prayer, consistency in scripture. It's just like, I don't know. We all need to be reminded on a regular basis that staying consistent, especially in the areas of our lives that are already hard for us, it's the hardest thing for everybody.
Right.
Not just for you, man.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through that.
That's right.
I mean, people, we just need to hear that.
Yeah.
I need to hear that.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that yesterday from that guy
Yep.
that I interviewed. I needed to hear that today from you.
Yep.
That's how we grow together, man, is we talk about stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, as far as we're about to kick it over to Corn for we got a Patreon question this week.
Sweet.
Professionally with entrepreneurship, man, how has that journey been as you've grown? Has that been difficult at times to wield? Has it all been fun? Like, because you've grown a lot quick. I mean, you were a lot like me. Spent your entire adult life in the military. Nobody ever knew who you were.
Right.
Nobody ever heard your name.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I just Google Evan Slaughter story, Evan Slaughter age, Evan Slaughter military, Evan Slaughter net worth, Evan Slaughter wife, Evan Slaughter weight loss.
Yeah,
So you're out there now, man.
Yeah.
Are you still loving it? Has it been up and down? How has it been for you? Because you've grown a lot.
Yeah.
Since we last met, man.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you talk about that, consistency with the videos thing. That was like, that's where it gets, I'm on year 2.5 now of doing this, posting on Instagram every day, sometimes twice a day if I've, have slacked on one day or missed a day, But when it comes to like the viewing it as a business and growing this as a business, because that's what it is, whenever I was on last time, I had just gotten started. I had just started making money at this and kind of figuring out what that looked like. Yeah. And then at the first of the year in 2024, when I'd moved to Nashville. I moved to Nashville in January, and that's whenever I started working with a manager. And it was the right fit. I had been approached by other people that wanted to work, manage me and stuff like that. And it was just a thing that God had brought together, and I knew that. And it's proven that since. It's been the best thing having her in my life.
I bet that's a game changer.
It's a game changer. And it's a game changer just because, it's what I had to do was start treating this like a business and taking it seriously, and then taking those next steps, not being afraid to take those next steps. Spending money where I needed to spend money, but then putting the right people in place to help me along that journey. Like I knew nothing about money. I'm bad with money. So I need to hire someone that's good with money, that can help me in that area. Hiring a manager, all these different things. It has been so that I can continue creating and doing. And that's what I had to look at. Because it's like, what is this as a job? Well, the job and what I love about it and what's beautiful about it, and you can experience this too, is, or relate to this, is our job basically is to be us, and then share that, right? Like share that. My job is to be me, genuinely me, and then share that, share that benefit of, hey, here's how I did this in the weight loss area. Here's how I've done this. Here's my experience with getting off opiates. And just be me and be authentic. It's like, and I've used comedy to reach people, but then share, a more important message. And that's just being me and sharing my story. Well, whenever I have all these other things that got to go on with this, the business side of this, all these different things, putting people in place to handle that so that I can continue creating and doing my thing, and is kind of how it's worked together. And then once I figured out that symbiotic relationship, between the business side of it and the creative side of it, is when things really kind of started to flourish for me. Yeah. And it's been fun, man. It's the only, there were aspects about the military I loved. There were aspects about other jobs that I enjoyed, but this is, I can say, is the first real time that I've done something that I just has felt right, that doesn't feel like a job, that I've loved and enjoyed. And it feels like, I'm fulfilling my purpose.
That's so good, man. Yeah.
So I do enjoy it. But understanding that there's a business side to it and how to navigate that business side while still, enjoying what you do and creating and all that has been kind of, figuring that out has been the key.
Yeah, man, and the only way to keep anything enjoyable, no matter what it is you decide to do in life, is to bring the right people in that are going to cover down on your weaknesses.
Right.
Like, that's the only way anything ever stays enjoyable long term,
And then being honest with people, always being honest with myself and being honest with others. That's something I got to remind myself of daily. Like, are you good? Are you truly good? Is everything okay? Or is there an area that I need help in? Because I'm real bad about not admitting whenever something's wrong. Like if I'm overwhelmed, for example.
You get that way sometimes?
Too much. Oh, man. Okay. I do. I get overwhelmed.
I get that way a lot of times,
I get overwhelmed.
And it's probably not because I actually have too much to do. For some reason, it just seems like I have too much to do.
A lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure that comes to it. There's like, okay, well, now there's a responsibility that I feel like I have with some of this stuff. Like, one of the things that's kind of kept me true on the weight loss path is I got people, watching my weight loss, path. And I talk about weight loss and I talk about the things I'm doing. Well, that doesn't mean that I can't stop and gain weight again. It just means that I need to be real and authentic of what's going on, you know? So because over Christmas, for example, November and December, the weight loss stopped, and I even kind of gained a few pounds back. So it kind of stalled and then held right between 200 and 209. And I had to be honest. I noticed, someone had commented on one of my videos that, oh, man, this guy should be way further along in his weight loss than he is and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, I've lost 95 pounds in the last 13 months, and I usually don't give in to negative comments or whatever. But I was like, well, I've lost 95 pounds in 13 months. And so, but I appreciate it. Have a good day, And he writes back, that's actually not that impressive. That's actually pretty slow weight loss. Just, trashing it, right? And so in my mind, I was thinking like, that's the problem right there. It's like, first of all, why do you care how much weight I've lost or haven't lost? What does that matter to you, right? It doesn't matter people look at us like, oh, we've got to weigh a certain amount or look a certain amount or do it, whatever. But that's what it came down to me. Like when I had gained all that weight and was improving my mental health, it was like, it doesn't matter if I'm happy and I'm not hurting anyone and I'm able to contribute to society, then what does it matter if I'm overweight or not? That's for me to decide. But I chose why I wanted to get back in shape, And so I just kind of had to learn to like just make sure I'm always open and honest and what's going on, because if the weight loss ever slows down, I can be honest about why it slowed down.
That's good.
And I can help people with being real about, hey, this is why I've gained a few pounds back, or this is why, and then go through that process.
And so what you're saying is that, and I get this, I hope people heard that, is that dedication to being honest about what's actually happening and what you're going through is helping you not feel overwhelmed so much.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's taking this pressure for you to be someone who you're not really at that place and time or season.
Right.
It's taking that pressure off of you.
Right.
So I get how those two could coincide.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna be open and honest about this, and you're gonna be a lot less likely to feel overwhelmed and get burned out on what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
If you make the commitment to be truthful essentially with your followers.
Yeah, and it can, it in any aspect of life, it just makes things easier in the end. I think about times in my life where if I just would have admitted that I'm struggling with opiate abuse, I could have probably cut out a couple rehabs or a trip to jail, or, if I just would have been honest from the beginning. But for some reason, I care, well, what are they going to think of me if I tell them that I've struggled with opiates or this or that, or how are they going to view me? Am I going to lose my job? And then you start wondering all these things, and we think, well, I know what I need to do. I need to control this and manipulate this situation, so that I can dictate the outcome. And that never ends up working out. So for me, that's why it's like when I started doing the social media thing, the only approach I felt like I could take was just being open and honest and real about what was going on. I talked about doing the Ozempic thing, and, some people can criticize that. They look at it as cheating or this and that, and it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. There's so much hard work that goes into losing 100 pounds that there's no miracle drug that's just going to do that for you. But I talk about Ozempic and stuff, and a lady came up to me at a pickleball event one time, and she said, hey, I just want to thank you for being open and honest about Ozempic because it inspired me to get on it, and I've lost 67 pounds since then, and I'm running a marathon for the first time in my life. And I was like, well, there we go. That's all I need to know, That's
it, man.
It's just being open and honest about that one little thing has helped this lady,
That's good, man. CB, I want to kick it over to you for a Patreon question. And then I got something I want to talk about afterwards. I want to talk about our past, right? And how that influences us and why we're so ashamed of it and what's actually good about it. So,
what we've been talking about here is really a good time to talk about that new shirt.
Oh, the Unfat Yourself shirt? Do you have one?
Oh,
you don't even have one in here.
No, they go on the Hunter, put a link in the chat.
Yeah, we got
they
the Unfat Yourself shirt. It's live on the website. I really like the shirt. So
I saw one earlier. They're cool.
We're gonna get you one before you leave for sure.
Okay, good.
But I imagine we're getting pretty low on stock because there's been quite a few of them that have sold. So if you want an Unfat Yourself shirt, go on the website and get you one while they're still in. And we're gonna save one for Evan. So
there you go.
It's an awesome shirt. What we got from Patreon today, CB?
This week's Patreon comes from Jeremy Z, and he's from Iowa. I guess there's another Jeremy Z that ain't from Iowa. What are the top 7 fundamental workouts for being strong?
Top 7?
I thought the same thing when I said.
Where'd he come up with a number 7?
7 actually represents the number of completeness according to the Bible.
Well,
7 days of creation. So he wants a complete workout.
Yeah.
We got to respect that.
For being strong. Well, then.
Strong how?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Then you have to define,
bodybuilder strong.
Yeah, what is your definition of strong?
Endurance runner strong.
Right.
Yeah.
So that.
He probably means picking up a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am not the best guy to talk to when it comes to knowing how to pick up big, heavy things.
Yeah.
My view of strength would be just all around capability.
Hybrid athlete is what they call that, right?
Being able to maybe run a marathon, being able to, bench press your body weight 10 times.
Yeah.
Being able to squat maybe twice your body weight. Same with deadlift. Things like that. Being able to do 6 to 10 dead hang pull-ups. I think that's a pretty important measure of strength. Maybe not run a marathon. That's a little. That's a little excessive. I would say
marathon distance.
Well,
maybe.
I was even going to say 4 miles.
Yeah.
4 miles is a good test of overall just cardiovascular health. That was our standard in BUD SEAL training was 4 mile timed run.
I was going to say in SF and Ranger School and all that, any special operations Army was 5 miles, so pretty close.
Yeah.
5 miles in 40 minutes. You had to do it in 40 minutes or less.
Well, ours was 4 nautical miles, so it would be close to 5 for sure. So it was, and I think our standards in first phase it was, I don't know, in the mid 30-minute range, and in every phase it went down, by a few minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. So let's all go around our favorite exercise.
Okay.
I named a bunch right there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, give you a little insight on kind of measurable things if you want to consider yourself strong. But for me, I think number one, hands down, if I could do one exercise to be strong, it would be pull-ups. It's because it's like an overall full. It's you're not working your calves when you do pull-ups, but you're engaging your core, your lats, your arms, just all the way through, your grip strength. It's just a great indicator of overall health and overall strength, in my opinion. Pull-ups number one for me. If that was your number one, pick your number two. All right?
I'm going to say bench press. I was always a big bench press guy. Even did a little bit of was starting to get into the competition of bench press world, the competitive bench press world. So I would go with bench press. It's not going to really do anything for you. If you want gym strength, if you want pretty muscles and gym strength and be able to bench, what they say, if you can't bench 225 now, you're not a man, basically. So if you need to hit that number, I'd say throwing in bench press would be a good one.
I'd say deadlifts for me. Like if I'm doing a bunch of deadlifts or just some heavy ones, like afterwards, hamstrings are wrecked, quads are wrecked, and last for days. Everything else seems easy.
Now you may have me on that one, Corn. I think you may have me on that one. I think a deadlift may be a better overall indicator of strength than a pull-up.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're right. Because I know when I do a bunch of deadlifts, even my lats are sore.
Yeah.
My whole dang body, my whole body will be sore. It really is because you're pressing back and keeping that bar straight in line with your body, right?
So y'all missed the number one. It's power cleans.
I do like power cleans.
I don't like power cleans, but that is the best full body power.
It's really not because you're not working your shoulders.
You're pulling up. You're not pressing.
So you know what? I don't know if it was either Arnold or one of the Mr. Olympias in that era of them, and I forgot what book it was in, but they said if they could choose one exercise, like if they only could choose one exercise that they could do the rest of their life, it would be squats, because they felt like squats was a full body exercise. So you got definitely core, definitely legs, and then you're bearing the weight on your shoulders. So even though it's not getting like a press, you're still having to hold the weight up with your body. So I was gonna say that one, but I just.
But you just like bench press.
But bench press, I was like, they just go.
Cooler.
You got to be able to bench. Dude.
It looks so much.
You got to be
cooler.
able to bench. Everybody always asks, "What's your bench?" They don't ask what your power clean is.
No.
How much you bench? You just start that, Blake. Like, hey, how much you power clean, man?
I hate thrusters. Thrusters they will get you.
Yeah, thrusters are wall balls, which is essentially a thruster.
Yeah.
You'll be doing a lot of wall balls soon, right?
Yeah, high rocks. Yeah, man. Not looking forward to that.
Yeah, a dang thruster will blow you out, boy.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
There's your top 4. There's your top 4.
Well, we threw out a bunch there, so those are good indicators of strength. 4 mile time run, push up, pull up. We didn't even talk about push-ups.
That's right.
Dang, we could just, all right. That's enough to chew on. Get good at all the things that we just talked about.
Report back.
And then you'll be considered strong.
For sure.
Overall strong.
Report back after that.
'Cause we didn't even talk about swimming. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. That we sprinting, pickleballing.
Yeah, pickleballing's for sure
swim.
up there.
That is true. Cornbread. Well, we can't say Cornbread can't swim anymore because I have seen him swim. But I would not be too confident.
He doesn't. It's not a swimmer's physique. No, it's not a swimming friendly look. Neither do I. I mean, I sink like a rock down to the bottom. I mean, I can swim. I like to think I can.
We have an all-time video of Cornbread on our channel learning to swim.
He's literally doing this, and he's going backwards in the
Chad's
water.
holding him up while he's swimming, and he's moving.
It seems like against the laws of science that you can be pulling water this way, but you're going backwards. It was the wildest thing, man.
That's good.
He almost drowned in the shallow end.
Yeah.
So I had a strange experience last week, and I was interested if you guys have ever had a similar experience. So as I talk through this, think of if you've had something like this before. But as you all know, I was in San Diego last week training for the Yukon 1000 with my buddy David Charbonnet, and it was the first time I had been back in San Diego since I graduated SEAL training.
Oh, wow.
I think I graduated SEAL training and SQT and everything. I think I left San Diego in like sometime late 08 or something like that. So it's been quite a while. And it was really weird going back to a place that was such a huge part of my past. Mm-hmm. It was a strange experience being there again. And particularly, I went to the beach where SEAL training is conducted.
Oh, wow.
Gator Beach. And so I went on base and I walk out on this beach, and the first thing that struck me is it's small. It's literally like a 2-mile stretch of beach and a bunch of old dilapidated buildings. And I was like, what the crap? Like, when I was there in training, my entire world was contained to these few little dilapidated buildings and this little 2-mile stretch of beach.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's it? Like, no one would ever look at this and say, they train the most elite maritime warriors on the face of the earth in those couple little broken down buildings and this little stretch of ugly beach covered in seaweed and horseshoe crabs. Huh. It was really strange, man. And then the other strange part about it for me was I didn't feel like I belonged there. It was a really weird feeling because when you're in it, when you're in that pipeline and you're out there getting tortured in that cold water and, you know, you're doing it, you feel like you belong there every single day. Like, this is my life, man. But entering back into that space and not being in that training pipeline anymore, I felt awkward just being there. What's that? Okay, we'll get it back up, Hunter. Thank you, buddy. We still got audio on, so you can get that back up just as soon as you can there, Pepe. I don't know. Have you guys ever been to a place like that, like somewhere that was really meaningful to you in your past?
Cool and
no, I mean, I'm just wondering because it was a really weird experience for me. It's the best way I can describe it. I don't know if it was impactful or what. But Y'all have a place like that?
It makes you think, like, I mean, so I would say it's almost kind of like going back to your high school. Like, I never did that, but people that, like, maybe played high school football or something, and they go off and they, go play in college, or maybe they make it to the NFL, and then they come back to visit. I would imagine something similar like that maybe happening. For me, I know that this, when I went to this rehab called Turning Point this last time, I was there for 3 months. My life was at its bottom, right? Like, no one goes into rehab with things going okay. Usually things have hit the fan, and that's why you're there, So that was my situation, and it was terrible, coming off opiates, worst I've ever felt, on top of getting COVID while I was coming off opiates. I thought I was going to die. It was like one of those, so much physical pain that I can remember thinking, I never want to feel this again kind of thing. And maybe that's why it was so bad. But ended up going back because, that's where I learned pickleball. That's where I learned, turned my life around. I came out of there and started doing the stuff on Instagram, and ever since then, the rest is history. And to think about what all pickleball alone has provided for me since I've been there, where I learned it, at this rehab where my life was falling apart, and then come out and to be able to take that and then really do something impactful with it. So I'd always wanted to, I went back and visited over Christmas, maybe last year, and took like 50 pickleball paddles from the company that sponsors me, Valair, and donated them to the rehab and just walked around and toured it. And it was kind of like similar, going back when you're sober and it's, turn your life around and going and visiting that place where you were just broken and just not, everything was falling apart.
Like, man?
It was a completely different experience, and then going and visiting, like knowing that I get to drive my own vehicle and leave there too whenever I get done was crazy, because when you're there, you're there. So it just made me appreciate, everything that I had been through, and then just going through those feelings of like how hopeless I felt when I first got here and all that stuff, and then to come back and see how far it's taken me, and then I got to meet guys that were in the program that I had gone through and all that kind of stuff, and talk with them, and they talk about they have their own struggles going on. They're in that place and they're in that mindset that I was at, a lot of them, so it was cool to be able to just go and meet with them and talk with them and really say, hey, look, it can get a lot better than this, So
I think it's important, man.
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about here, like, because like I went back to that beach intentionally.
Yeah.
To reflect upon, like, that part of my life. You went back to that rehab intentionally,
Right.
To not only to pour into them and but I imagine to reflect upon that part of your life. And I think it's important, man. There's another weird thing, and you guys let me know here in a minute if you have had an experience like that. But while I was there on that beach, there was this weird sense that, like, there was some part of me that, like, stayed there. Mm-hmm. Like that. Oh, I don't know creepy. What that even is supposed to mean, or
yeah.
But like, there's some part of me in some weird way that will always belong to that little spot.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Weird, dude. I'm telling you.
That's wild.
I don't know. Like, one of the guys from First Form that was out filming, he was like, was there any, like, weird energy out there on that beach? And I was like, yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's if you wanted to describe the feeling out there, and maybe nobody else can feel it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's my own mind, creating that feeling, but it's like there's this dark energy there because there's so much pain and like so much fear, and so that it's like it's almost like it's like embedded in the sand somewhere.
Yeah.
Dude. It was wild.
Dang.
But what about you guys?
Me specifically, I can't say that I've like ever had somewhere I just wanted to revisit just to see what it was like or reminisce. But at the end of last summer, me and my nephew G, we was riding our bikes, and we come up to the barn where two of my dear friends that I loved to death hang out every night, that I used to hang out with them constantly and drink every night. And we come rolling up there on our bicycles, and they're, look at y'all in these shorts, and aggravating us and talking about, dang, you've lost a lot of weight, and talking about what we do here at 307. And we was back to hanging out at the barn, you know what I mean? And I was sitting on the flatbed, and then one of them opened the refrigerator, and he's like, man, have you seen this Crown Royal Blackberry? And just right when he said that, it was just, bam, like, I don't belong here. And both those dudes, I just love them to death. And I have met at that barn and hopped in one of them's truck, and we've taken off and rode out and went hunting and come back. But I'd never hung out there since I quit drinking. Like, went to meet the guys and hang. And it was just so weird that I come up and we started hanging out, and then 30 minutes later, like, I couldn't get out of there quick enough. And I know it probably, I haven't talked to them about it, but I know it probably seems weird to them that I was just like, all right, dude, we're out of here, because we hadn't really caught up or reminisced on anything probably since I started working here. So at that time, it'd probably been about 8 months. And I just shagged tail on them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you had a kind of a similar experience of feeling like, I don't belong here anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
this isn't my lifestyle anymore.
Yeah.
Have you been back to your pawpaw's land
No,
as an adult?
No, I haven't. They sold it, and
Before it was gone or whatever, you didn't get to see it.
Right. No.
I mean, that would be like a place for
Right.
you where you grew up. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's weird as a kid, things seem so much bigger and different. We used to hunt the 40 acres, and I just remember those fields being huge.
Yeah.
And, years later on, our family lives close to it, and we rode four-wheelers through there, and I was like, this field is tiny. Like, I remember cutting this with lawnmowers and thinking, goodness, it's going to take us all day to cut this. And we cut the fields with lawnmowers. It was small enough,
Yeah.
And, then you have good memories and bad memories at places. And so I think, you go to those places and like the 40 acres, a part of you misses, like, you're part of life then. It's like, man, if I could go back and be a kid here again and come camping and hunting, like, you kind of miss it. It's almost sad when you visit that and things have now grown up and, nobody's using it, the land's not maintained. But then other places you go, like probably the places you're like, I'm glad I'm not there anymore. Like, it's kind of cool to be back and maybe see that and maybe help people and see what they're at, but I'm glad I'm not in that place anymore.
Yeah, well, both mine and Evan's, I think the places that we used for this example, there was good and bad in both in the place you revisited and in the place I revisited. It's like, for me, being back on that beach was like, I was like, this is where it all began.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, this is where it all began, and you could essentially say the same thing.
Yeah. New
for
beginnings.
that rehab.
Yeah, for sure.
You were like
100%. Yeah.
So there's good and bad.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too, we see how much our perspective on things can influence the way we see things. Like, your perspective of that beach was like, this is where I'm at, like, this is where my life is, and to you it's like, that's really big. Like,
it seemed huge when you were in it. Yeah.
And now you're out of it and it's not your life. And it's just this little bitty spot, like, oh, okay, it's just a couple miles and really kind of nasty and not that much to it. But then you back yourself out of that and you think about your perspective on other things and how that influences what it actually is to you. Mm-hmm. And I guess goes maybe some with the saying that, what do they say about, like, what you think about something is really your reality of it. Yeah. Because of how much it influences it. So it's interesting to consider. And look at things objectively, like take yourself out of it and say, well, really, what is this place that I'm in, even today in the current things that we're in?
Yeah, that's right.
I just think that it's, for me, so I see so many people, and even myself, there have been so many parts of my past that, man, you've just tried to run from, and you weren't willing to talk about or unpack, or I mean, I've lived that way for many, many years, and thankfully the Lord's led me to a place now that there isn't much of that left, You know, I can tell my story, you know, truthfully and completely as I can remember it. You know, but I think that our past is extremely important, and even the ugly parts of it.
Yeah.
It's extremely important because it's all, no matter how ugly it was, no matter how hard it was, every last bit of it has led me up to who I am today. Like, has brought me to the point that I am today.
Yeah.
And
all the failures and all of it.
yeah, man. And
Yeah.
but so many people live in just this prison of, you know, that they create for themselves by trying to hide from that stuff. And I think that it's a good exercise to intentionally, for me anyways, to go and revisit those places that are attached or were attached to my story and my past. And because it just makes you appreciate where you are today. It did me. It made me appreciate where I am today, who I have become by the grace of God.
Yeah.
And how far removed from that I am now, to the point that I didn't even feel like I belonged there anymore. You
Was
know?
there a class going on when you visited the beach?
There were some guys out there on the beach.
Like that were candidates?
Yeah, they were in buds. Yeah, I don't know
so
what
I wonder
phase.
if that affected you too, you know?
Well, so
seeing someone else go through it and then feeling like, ooh, out of respect, I don't belong.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go near them.
Right,
Like, I
right.
could see them down the beach,
Okay.
but like I wouldn't
yeah.
even go near them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not because I couldn't have. I had my military ID, and I could have walked down there and watched them. You know,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
it was to the point that I was like, no, this isn't who I am anymore.
Yeah.
You know, which is.
Did it make you miss it? Was
It's
there a
good.
part of you
No,
that was
it
like it was
didn't.
hard? Like
It did.
I wish I was back on a team right now.
No, and that's the confirmation. Like,
Yeah.
that's the confirmation.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because when I got back from combat in Afghanistan, I didn't think anything about PTSD or anything like that, you know. And of course, PTSD looks like a lot of things. I found out, you know. I mean, obviously, I had trouble driving when I got back here because I did a lot of driving over there when I got injured. Driving was tough, and then that's a sign of PTSD, you know, when you come back and you're flying down the interstate and driving like you're in combat. But also, I learned that when I got back from that, you know, maybe for the first year or two after being in the military and being deployed and everything, and then I would watch something. I remember the movie Lone Survivor came out, and I watched it, and the combat scenes in that are so lifelike. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you can hear the whistle of a bullet and the crack, you know, when it hits a tree or something next to them, and it was just so lifelike. It made me miss that a little bit. And I kind of got a little scared because I was like, man, that was what, you know, that feeling and that adrenaline starts going. And you're like, I wish I was in that. It's like, who wishes that they were in a firefight right now?
Yeah.
You know, and I learned that was kind of a form of PTSD.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you had experienced that, you know, when you were standing on the beach and seeing it, if you had missed it or if it had been long enough removed from it where you're processed.
Well, and to be honest with you, I don't think it had anything to do with the amount of time I have been removed from it. I think it has everything to do with my satisfaction in who I am today. Like my passion about what I am doing today and who I am today. Like, I
like what you're doing more now.
Exactly, man. I think that if I wasn't so confident and satisfied in what the Lord has me doing today, then it wouldn't have mattered if I would have went to that beach 30 years from now.
Yeah.
But I had never really got to a place in my life where I felt like I'm really doing what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
My life is filled with purpose. If I would have never got there, like, no amount of time would have gotten me to the point that I wouldn't have missed that old part of my life where it all began.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So that was good confirmation for me to say, Yeah, man.
I'm good.
I'm where I need to be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm where I need to be in life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was just such a cool experience, man. And I don't know if listeners, if you've ever done that before, but I highly recommend it as an exercise. And, you know, I've kind of done this intentionally throughout my life when I have the opportunity to. And Brooke and I even have a tour planned. And so this is something I do in my life, is revisit these places. And when our little black dog, Jada, when she finally passes away, we're going to have her cremated. And then we're going to go back up to Virginia where we had Jada when her and I first got married. And we're going to go back to all of Jada's old favorite places.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like the Great Dismal Swamp and the Shenandoah National Park and all her favorite trails and Chicks Beach right there on Virginia. And the thing is, those are all Jada's favorite places because they were our favorite places.
Right. That's where you took Jada.
Yeah. So we have like this whole tour plan that'll probably be coming up here pretty soon because Jada's not long for this world anymore.
Right amount of money, it can be sooner than make a stop on the way out of here.
Well, I hope Brooke doesn't listen to this episode. Evan won't be welcome to the house anymore.
I've been trashing Brooke today. I talked about her truck, taking her dog from you.
Yeah, man, I just think it's really cool to do that, and I'm looking forward to that trip when it comes. So
yeah, that'll be awesome.
I hope that encourages you guys to just think about, you know, those places or those times or those seasons of your life that maybe you've been kind of ashamed of or running from, even just in your own mind. Dude, embrace that crap, man, because it's all informing who you are today. And yeah, hopefully you're happy with who you are today. And if you're not happy with who you are today, well, it doesn't have to stay that way. So thank you guys for having that conversation with me.
Yeah, thank you. That was good.
Absolutely.
I was looking forward to sharing that experience with y'all. Do you even pay attention to the news?
No. I was talking about this the other day. I've purposely stayed out of it for a while now because I see how stressful and everybody gets worked up over it. You know, I see my parents who are Fox News parents. I saw, you know, and they just get so, I'll hear my dad talk about it, and he's so consumed about it that for me, I know it's coming. You know, I know I'm going to be there at some point in life. I feel like maybe I won't be, but right now I'm doing everything I can to just stay out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I don't have opinions and that I don't have, you know, I'm not, what's the word? I'm not ignorant to what's going on, you know, in the world. I just choose to not be of the world in that sense, I guess.
Are you one of those Trump
that's
supporters?
Right or wrong. I've never voted. You know that? That's another fun fact. I have never voted.
Hey, man.
And that
we got something in common.
the Never Vote Club. The Never Vote Club. I've never met another never voter.
Do you realize how many people you just pissed off on this podcast?
Probably a lot. I've never voted. Everybody.
Look, we just lost half the listeners. We just lost half the listeners right now.
You know, so everybody would always get, you know, my mom and my grandparents, all them, they would say, Evan, it's your right as an American
it's your duty
to go vote. And I would say, you know what else it is? It's my choice as an American to not vote. As an American, I get to choose not to vote. You know?
Yeah.
It's all Elon Musk and everybody running this country anyways. It's all the billionaires.
Yeah.
Meta.
That's pretty cool. We got 2 never voters. Have you voted, Blake?
We got 3 never voters. Cornbread's the only one we're pissing.
Pepe.
You ever voted Pepe?
Bill.
Now, Cornbread is a die-hard voter.
Well, he's old. You know, that's how old people are.
Local, national.
He gets
I even
the
vote in the
sticker.
Mexican elections.
Local, national, school board elections. I'm down there.
Mexico.
Filling out a ballot.
He is a die-hard. Cornbread has the utmost faith in the election integrity and process.
I love that for you.
The day
Served me well every time.
I love that for you.
The day that the polls open, Cornbread is going to be there getting his stickers.
Posting a selfie.
Yeah,
I voted.
I've got a selfie somewhere in my phone of Cornbread voting. So, well, we're going to talk, just get a little report of what's going on in the news today. Now, Corn, you've got local news, right? Chili's not here for national news.
Our lead investigative reporter, Chili, has
He's in
sent
Canada.
On site in Canada.
He sent in his news report from North Canada via text because their internet sucks. This is verbatim from Chili. In national news, we are 190 days until the 24th anniversary of the hijackers flying into the Twin Towers in New York City. That's national news.
Wow.
How many days?
190 days.
That's a special number.
Yeah.
It really is.
Sure is. Thank you, Chili.
Imagine the flags are at half staff.
10 days
Like
past
always
the
are.
half.
Yeah.
10 days past the half.
Yeah.
It's big.
That's big news. It really is.
Yeah. So in local news, here just a few days ago, the Georgia House of Representatives passed 2 bills that's going to the state Senate that sort of affect our area. One of the bills being House Bill 225, which is co-sponsored by state representative here in our Murchie, Eddie Lumsden, will prohibit those speed cameras from taking your speed, getting your tag, and giving you a ticket.
No kidding.
Really?
Yeah. But also, the second bill that passed allows the speed cameras to work, but dictates how the money's spent, from where they get it, what time they can do it, and where they can do it at. And ironically, he also supports that bill. So just in case, and also,
how does that even make sense?
A representative from Rome,
right
a representative from Rome, one from Armurchie, and one from Calhoun. All 3 support both bills.
So you can't have them, but you can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's one of those, just in case this don't pass, we support this one too, that negates how the money can be collected, where it goes to. So they're doubling down, basically. But there's 2 that Rome operates 2 of those cameras. Floyd County operates 1, which is right up here at Armurchie High School.
Oh, yeah, that one's got me.
They're going to put another one on 140 at the elementary school at the end of spring.
Have y'all got by them cameras?
I've never gotten a speed one. I've gotten a red light one.
Ann has.
I've got a red light one, too.
I've gotten a red light one.
Yeah.
So they passed the bill to not put any more up, but they're going to put another one up.
Well, it still has to go through the Senate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just passed through the House of Representatives. Yeah, both bills passed through the House.
You got one the other day, and they wouldn't let you get your tag, right?
Yeah, they fine you, and they say, we're not going to let you pay your tag
Till you pay the
renewal
speed
until you pay
ticket.
this
Wow.
tax.
They can do that? That doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Take away, you're trying to renew your license or your tag.
I've gotten one of those too, and I've never paid any of it. But
There's a bench warrant for you somewhere, bub.
no, I just got pulled over the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I just got pulled over.
Yeah.
Well, those are all civil.
They're
All
not
of
real
them.
tickets.
They're
Yeah.
not criminal.
So
the
what's the
cameras.
idea behind that? I mean, why?
but speeding
So you don't
is
have to pay it, or you think you will?
offense.
You know,
It's not the ticket's not.
it's ran by a third party.
Oh, okay.
Even tolls
Civilian
and stuff,
third-party
like
system.
even tolls are ran. It's all ran by third parties.
I got you.
So there are so many things out there, fees and tickets
Yeah.
and passes, and that people are just under the assumption that they have to pay these things,
Yeah.
but you literally don't have to.
Yeah.
And people just pay them because they think, oh, somebody
I'm gonna get in trouble.
somebody's gonna come after me.
Yeah.
And even like me, like I probably have tens of thousands of dollars worth of tolls
Yeah.
somewhere.
I got to stop paying parking tickets then. This
Yeah,
is
man,
ridiculous.
and like they harass me all the time.
Yeah.
They send me all these. They used to. I've moved so many times they no longer know where I am. And also, huge tip here for you guys: if you ever get rich like me, don't own anything.
Yeah.
This is what people don't understand. I don't own anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't own a single vehicle. I don't own a house. I don't own nothing
Yeah.
except maybe my clothes and stuff. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
my name is on nothing. So they really can't They can't figure me out, man.
You want a lot of digits on a screen.
Yeah, that's true. But
I'd take that from you, bub.
well, you know, we're not gonna talk. I've got a good system to get out of that too. But yeah, man, look,
Got it all figured out.
you don't have to pay all this crap, man. People just, dude, they're just stealing your dang money, man. All these fees and tickets and all. No, man. Quit paying that crap, man.
You better slow down going by that elementary school here in a few months.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, it's
Can
like
you see them? Like, pretty obvious? Are they obvious where there's?
Yeah.
Or they
I
try
mean,
to
you
make
can
them
see them if
discreet?
you really look at them. They don't try to hide them, but
Okay.
they'll be like beside a big metal box. You
Yeah.
know what
with
I
a
mean?
solar panel or
I'm
something.
probably gonna have
Yeah.
one leaving here.
If you use Waze, it'll tell you speed camera coming up.
Oh, okay.
That's some bull crap, man.
Yeah, I agree.
That and tolls.
And what's up with these other cameras that are all over the roads now?
Oh, I know.
Just on a telephone pole.
Yeah,
just
I know.
the camera pointing down at the road.
They say that they are to like monitor the amount of traffic that's going up and down a roadway.
Yeah.
Like they need to know how much traffic.
I thought they used to do that with the wars across
Yeah.
the road.
Yeah.
And you go over, glug, glug.
Now it's a camera.
I know they'll do that in high crime areas too, where they'll just have a camera and it's like a public safety camera. They do that. They used to do that in Birmingham. They'd have like near the projects and everything. There'd be just a big, and it's obvious there's one there. They'd have blue lights on it that can turn on like police lights if they need it to. You know.
Yeah, they put one of those big old cameras in the Kroger parking lot.
Yeah.
And they'll have a blue flashlight.
That's a rough parking lot right there. I've heard.
Things go down in the Kroger.
Yeah, I've heard it used to be
there
rough.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Enough people get robbed or whatever.
place is turning into China, man.
Literally like Cedar Town over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news, Cornbread. I appreciate you telling me about these ticket cameras that I don't pay them anyways.
Well, they're going to get you sooner or later, bub.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they've already got it.
I'm gonna tell you what. If and when they lock me up, y'all better make a YouTube video.
Oh man, it'll be
Bail bondsman.
Do you know it? You know what though, man? I mean, I ain't gonna do nothing to keep me in there for a long time. They keep me there for a couple.
I'm
of
saying
days.
you go enough times like I have. I've done about 74 days in county before. And you don't want to go back. So if I had something like that out, I'd have been paid it. They got me right where they want them. The thought, I paid everything. I pay everything early. I get those scam texts that are like, where you owe for a toll bridge that you had. I almost pay that. Dude, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to go get it. I ain't going back to that.
You don't want to go back.
I ain't going back to that.
Because I was gonna say it might be a couple day vacation for me.
It ain't great.
It's pretty rough in there.
It's pretty rough. No county jail, in my experience, has been a good one.
Good night, man.
Worse than prison. See, all the guys in county jail talk about how they're waiting for the prison bus to come get them because they hate county jail so much.
No kidding.
So they're ready to go to prison so they can work and smoke cigarettes.
Is it kind of like boot camp? Kind of like
No,
this?
it's worse, man. It's like there's nothing to do, and you're just like in a cell, and they'll open the doors, and you got general pop. They're all different though. And the one I was in for a while was 14, could hold 14 guys, 7 bunk racks, 7 racks in one pod, 4 pods per.
Oh man,
bay.
so it's open bay, pretty much.
Yeah, so they open the door. You're closed in at 14 when the doors are closed at night until the morning. Then they open the doors, assuming everyone's being good, and you can go out and play cards and stare at this TV that's way up on the ceiling, or and it's terrible, man.
Oh no! If
terrible.
I ever go to jail, I'm demanding my own cell.
He's gonna tell him this ain't
gonna
gonna work long for me like this.
That's gonna make it worse for you.
Look, no,
you
man,
don't
it's
ask for
like
anything,
hard.
man.
You don't understand, Bubba. I have gold woven into the hems of my garments. For if I ever go in there,
Because they let you have your own garden.
I'm going to bribe. I have enough money. I can bribe these.
You got to
these
do it in the
prison
socks.
workers.
It's all got to do it in the socks. They let you keep your socks and your underwear. So that's where the gold needs to be woven into.
Okay.
And some of them, if you have a white T-shirt on, like an undershirt, they'll let you keep that too. So maybe that's what you need the
good
gold
word.
woven into.
You look like that hermit, wizard, homeless dude. The first thing they're going to do is de-lice you, son. They're going to shave you down and spray you down.
No, they shouldn't shave you
Look,
in county.
if
he's getting
let me go ahead and
de-liced.
tell you, if any jail person wants to shave my beard, it will be the worst decision they ever made in their life.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I am going to sue the ever-living crap out of them.
Yeah, that's your livelihood.
Yeah, I will sue every last one
He
of them.
threatens to sue people all the time now.
He was going to
That'd
sue
be the right
power
one to
company
sue.
this morning.
Yeah. Thinking jail people. All you daggone police. Y'all need to quit your jobs. Get out of the place, man. This place needs to go back to the Wild West, dude. I'm just joking. I like y'all police officers. Some of you. All right, outstanding. Thank you guys for tuning in. Evan, thank you so much.
Thank
You guys
brother.
go follow Evan at Fit to Serve 1. I'll attach a link to his handle in the description of this, both on YouTube and on the audio platform. He's a great guy, man, putting out great content, as you guys know. Go back and listen to his story on episode 278 on the 3 of 7 podcast here. And
Got to hit them super chats, bub.
super chats. I'm going to hit the head real quick while you get them rolling.
Hey, if y'all want a dry bone shirt, you better get one. They're going fast. They about to be gone, bub.
I got Hunter's credit card right here. I might buy something before I give that back. We had Marty Bingham come in, $19.99.
Remember him?
He said, 1, the romancification of Pepe continued. Step 1, get some money. If you're over 21, you should be able to provide food, shelter, and transportation. Under 21, you really shouldn't be doing any serious courting.
There you go. That's right.
Ooh, that's some
Pepe
good
likes
advice right
older
there.
women anyway.
He does, yeah. Yeah, he always has.
Yeah.
Ever since I've known him. Marty Bingham come back in at $9.99, said, don't be playing. You should not go on a date with anyone you wouldn't consider marrying if she catches feelings, and cut her loose because you are playing and it's not fair to her.
That's right.
Is that Marty?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been wondering where Marty's been.
He's been here every week, man.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm the one that's been gone.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, you old geriatric.
He come back in at $4.99, said, take a hard look at her mama. Nuff said on that one.
There you go.
You got all that,
Giving
Hunter?
advice to Pepe?
Yeah, he just gave him $35 worth of advice.
Good night, man.
Thank you, Marty.
Little Virgil come in at 99 cents with that coin emoji with the
that
star on
corn
it.
one. Yeah, I was telling Evan he was going to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We had Brett Childers coming at $99.99.
Good night, son. 99.
He said, I love you guys. Good to see you this weekend.
Good to see you, Brett.
We had Garrick come in at $49.99.
Good night. That's a lick right there, boy. Thank you, Garrett.
I'll be praying for those taking part in the advanced drop. I hope you all receive everything God has in store for you. Also, don't forget how lucky you are to be doing something epic this weekend. Some of us would do anything to be out there.
I'm going to tell you what, man. The advanced rite of passage, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Nobody, Evan, you're the only person that's not, you're the only person that's not part of the instructor cadre that knows what's about to happen.
Okay, good. Okay.
None of the students, none of the students have any idea.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about signing up last minute, no training, but
It's only as hard as we could possibly make it. The advanced drop is.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that a couple of days ago. I was like, you know what? This course is legitimately going to be as hard as we could possibly make it. There's no way we can make it any harder. So we're throwing the whole kitchen sink at these guys, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be big. Chickadee come in at $19.99. Donna Jean Wild, a 59-year-old grandmother of 12 from Alberta, shattered the Guinness World Record with 1,575 push-ups in 1 hour a few months ago. She also held a plank for 4.5 hours. Give it a goog. Chili, you wrong.
This person comments this every
There's no
week.
way it's true.
How many
though.
push-ups again?
That's what Chili
1,000
says every week.
in an hour? There's no way.
1,575.
That's impossible.
In an hour. She was 59-year-old grandma. She's Corn's age.
I'll tell you what, she's
Grandma,
probably,
12.
I'll tell you
Did
what.
catch that?
I hope she's dead
Well,
now.
I mean,
Grave, dude.
should be after that.
Thank you, Chickadee.
Zach Wagner, $10. Are those Patrick Ewing basketball shoes going up for auction after the dunking all over Marjorie Green?
Quite possibly, but I may decide to keep them. We'll see.
Chris Jolly said, came in at $20, said, Evan, your Instagram is awesome. You have an amazing story. Thank you for sharing what you do and the way you do it. I imagine you have to motivate so many with your content. You and Chad make the perfect team on YouTube.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. Hopefully y'all like what we created today, both on the YouTube page and on my page. So I appreciate that.
And the last one, Zach Kirshner, $4.99. Good word today.
Appreciate you, Big Zach. I hope you're doing well, man. We miss you around here, but I know you're out doing good things, brother. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap for today. Lord willing, we'll see y'all next week, and I'm sure, hopefully, we'll have some good news stories for you. Love y'all. Enough said.